Bray Wyatt snaps and attacks a WWE cameraman last night on SmackDown. Sami Zayn calls out John Cena and Kevin Owens ahead of the huge tag team match next week live on Fox. The Rock and WrestleMania 39 has his status changed, and are WWE looking at alternate creative plans? There's been changes to the WWE drug testing policy. Got the latest details on that. Matches have been announced for next week's big SmackDown episode on Fox featuring title matches. Vince McMahon makes a surprising cameo last night on SmackDown. An update also on another release star returning to WWE. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE, so we have to start off talking about Bray Wyatt. The latest chapter, the latest iteration of the story, the saga, involving the former Universal Champion, LA Knight, Uncle Howdy, and now Bray Wyatt seemingly straying from his path and embracing those inner demons and attacking a cameraman last night on SmackDown. Let's get straight into this one because there's some more details on who's actually been producing these segments. We kind of already knew this, but it's more of a confirmation here. WWE Hall of Famer Road Dogg Brian James has been producing all of the Bray Wyatt's Uncle Howdy LA Knight segments in recent weeks, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select. But last night on SmackDown, a taped show, of course it was taped last week in Chicago, a week after Uncle Howdy's first appearance in person, Bray Wyatt essentially cut an "I told you so" promo, basically, where he continued to plead innocence over the recent backstage attacks suffered by LA Knight, saying, quote, "Nobody listened to me," Wyatt said in this promo. He, LA Knight, didn't believe me, and you didn't believe me too, right? Be honest, you thought it was me, for a minute at least. But the truth is, I'm not Uncle Howdy. I never was Uncle Howdy. Wyatt continued, whenever I think of Uncle Howdy, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. And he just stopped. He lost his train of thought. He snapped into something different. And at this point, Wyatt got down to his knees, dropped his microphone, and began clutching his head in despair. It was almost like a scene from Home Alone. He wasn't sure what was going on. Thereafter, he would abruptly attack the cameraman in the ring with a mandible claw. The segment then ended with Adam Pearce and other WWE officials stopping Wyatt from causing further damage. It's worth noting that neither Knight or Uncle Howdy showed up on this week's episode of the Blue Brand on Fox. Wyatt's erratic behavior following the mere mention of Uncle Howdy's name has surely led to some unanswered questions. Could fans get more answers on the final SmackDown of 2022? According to several reports, the Uncle Howdy storyline is expected to see significant progression over the next few weeks as WWE welcomes in the new year. There's also been chatter of a rumored Wyatt 6 stable debuting imminently, although we haven't heard really or seen anything about that. Wyatt, of course, has yet to wrestle a match since returning to WWE at the Extreme Rules Premium Live event earlier this year. So Wyatt attacks a cameraman, and it was noted on commentary, it must be said, by Michael Cole that Adam Pearce was discussing with WWE Global Headquarters as to how to punish Wyatt or what to do. And it's strange. I mean, it's difficult to figure out really what's going on, and I guess that's par for the course. The issue is that with tape shows, you don't tend to see a ton of progression because those big angles, those big moments, they want that to be left for live shows. They want that to be left for when it's a live broadcast. So obviously, you would have probably seen on social media that this was the case and this angle happened last week. The best way I could almost interpret it is that it's a red herring. Clearly, Uncle Howdy is still Bray Wyatt. I know that they've done a thing where they've gone, oh, it's two separate people. They did that with Elias and Ezekiel earlier this year, and it's still very obvious that it was the same people, and I think that's what they're doing here. I still think that Bray Wyatt will be unmasked as Uncle Howdy. I still think the Wyatt 6 will be 6 iterations of Bray Wyatt. I still think it's going to be 6 personalities of Bray Wyatt, akin to the movie Split, where you've got this version of Bray, you've got Uncle Howdy, you've got the Fiend, you've got the Eater of Worlds, the Wyatt family cult leader. You've got the Firefly Funhouse version of Bray, and then maybe you've got this other one. I'm not sure. There have been plenty of iterations of Bray Wyatt, and I think that's really what we're looking at here. We're looking at a guy who has major dissociative personality disorder. I think that's what they're going towards, and the Wyatt 6 faction is going to be a faction within his own mind. I think that's where they're going with it. Some people still say, no, Bo Dallas is involved. Some people still say, no, you've got Dutch from the Righteous, you've got Vincent, they're going to be involved, and I guess that's a possibility. Look, it's WWE. So at the same time, The WWE might not have figured out who they want Uncle Howdy to be or which direction they want Bray Wyatt to go in. And maybe that's why this has taken a little bit longer than maybe some fans would like, because you do get the impression some weeks WWE are still trying to figure out where they want to go with it. And that was a report right after Wyatt returned that WWE had some sort of big plot points that were going to lead to WrestleMania when it came to Bray Wyatt, but some of the smaller details they hadn't figured out yet. Maybe you would hope by now they figured them out. I think it's almost a credit to WWE that he returned in October. It's nearly January now, and he still hasn't wrestled a match. Clearly, he's going to wrestle his first match at the Royal Rumble. Some have argued that maybe because Wyatt's injured. I mean, ever since he's coming back, you can see it right on the screen right there. He's got this massive knee brace on his knee, so we don't know what the situation is with that either. So we'll have to wait and see. Of course, if we get any more details, we'll speak about it here on the channel. The show kicked off last night, though, on Fox with the Bloodline. Roman Reigns kicked off the holiday edition of SmackDown alongside the Bloodline, and the topic on everyone's minds was, of course, John Cena. Last week, Cena accepted Kevin Owens' invitation to join him against Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn next week, and Paul Heyman addressed it at the top of the show. Afterwards, Roman Reigns would give the microphone to Sami Zayn, and he would unleash a vicious promo against KO and Cena, who will be returning on next week's SmackDown. It was a promo for the books, it must be said, and next week's match can't get here soon enough. Reigns said that Zayn looked a little flustered, and to get things off his chest, Zayn said that he should be the top of the world and that he just wanted what everyone wants, a little respect and somewhere to belong. Then he said he found that with the hottest group in the history of WWE. He found family and respect, and he said every place he goes they actually love him. Zayn said they should be happy, but he's not because of a black cloud named Kevin Owens, and that his wonderful week last week was ruined by Owens. He said that he hates their names are even tethered together. He then went off on Owens, bringing back Cena to try and steal the show. Quote, and then of all things, you want to bring back John Cena to try and upstage me, to upstage us and try and steal the show? I've got news for you. We are the show. Kevin, listen very closely. And John Cena, I don't know how you've been, but I don't care, Zayn said. We are going to destroy you. We are going to rip you apart. We are going to leave you mangled because you are stepping to the bloodline. And when that happens, you get smashed. So prepare next week to do what every WWE superstar has done and what this city is about to do, and that's acknowledge the tribal chief. Reigns then hugged Zayn and couldn't have been happier with Zayn's message, and the bloodline looked on cloud nine. It remains to be seen if we'll hear from John Cena. Well, we didn't hear from him. We saw a video package before the night was over, but certainly it was a fantastic promo, really excellent promo by Zayn. A lot of people are talking that Roman Reigns, he hugged Sami Zayn once the segment or the promo was over and looked into the camera and said some things, and some people are speculating, was that directed towards KO and Cena, or was it directed towards Sami Zayn? Either way, I feel like next week might be the final night that Sami Zayn is a part of the bloodline. My prediction for next week is just this. What I think is going to happen is I think we're going to see John Cena and Kevin Owens win. I think they pin Sami Zayn, and then I think after the match, Roman Reigns takes out Sami Zayn from the bloodline, and the entire bloodline does the same. We don't then see Sami Zayn until, let's say, the build-up to Elimination Chamber, and we get Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn in Montreal at Elimination Chamber for the Undisputed Universal Championship. I think that's the direction that we're heading in, but we'll have to wait and see for next week. Speaking of Roman Reigns, of course, The Rock is the rumoured opponent for the Tribal Chief at WrestleMania next year. And with WrestleMania 39 emanating from LA, many have speculated that a possible match between The Rock and Roman Reigns will take place, considering Rock is a Hollywood superstar. Of course, the Great One has not stepped inside of a ring for a proper match since 2013, which saw John Cena defeat him at WrestleMania 29. However, the 10-time world champion hasn't ruled out the possibility of donning the trunks once more. According to the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, The Rock taking on Reigns is still being talked about despite the match not being set in stone. The report states that there is no main event for WrestleMania officially locked in, but if The Rock does make it to WrestleMania 39 and puts aside his busy Hollywood schedule, he will be taking on Reigns. Furthermore, the ball is seemingly in The Rock's court, with his official decision being needed prior to the Royal Rumble, since his return would likely affect the booking of that event. There has been discussion in the past of The Rock potentially returning to WWE and winning the Royal Rumble match, meaning that if Reigns is still the undisputed WWE Universal Champion come WrestleMania, he would be able to challenge him for the titles the Tribal Chief has held for over 800 days. On the latest episode of Young Rock, a TV show about The Rock's life, there was an Easter egg, as on The Rock's mantle in an office was the Universal Championship, signifying that he won the title. This is not the first time Rock versus Reigns has been teased on Young Rock either. But it also was stated by Meltzer in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that WWE Creative has been pitching new ideas for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania if The Rock is unable to show. So my feeling is with this, as we get closer to it, I feel like this one might not happen anymore. I think we are heading into the same direction that we always head with The Rock at WrestleMania season, and that is all the way in the calendar month leading up to WrestleMania, or certainly all the way to like December or January, February, we hear WWE wants The Rock. WWE wants The Rock for WrestleMania. They want The Rock for WrestleMania. They want The Rock to face Triple H. They want The Rock to face Roman Reigns. They want The Rock to face John Cena. They want The Rock to face this person, that person, that person. And every single time they go, it's not official. It's in The Rock's court. It's The Rock's decision. He's got a busy schedule. And then around this time of the year, every single time something comes up and they go, yeah, he can't do it. He's filming something or he's promoting something. It's not possible. Not to say he won't make an appearance at the show, because he might. And we could see a situation where, look, it's The Rock when he makes a run-in. If it's Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and the referee's down, both people are down, The Rock comes in, rock bottom. He factors into the finish and they build to next year. That's a possibility. But as of right now, it's very much 50-50 and nothing is set in stone. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think The Rock is going to wrestle at WrestleMania next year? Got an update on the wellness policy with WWE, because a lot of people have been talking about this recently, haven't they? Matt Riddle was reportedly written off WWE television so that he could attend rehab after failing 2 drug tests. This has raised questions about WWE's substance abuse and drug testing policy, which was established back in 2006. Despite the policy having a 3-strike system, which hands out 30-day and 60-day suspensions for the first 2 strikes and a termination for the third, there have been no indications that Riddle was actually ever suspended. WWE says that his storyline injury will keep him out for less than 60 days. Bodyslam.net's original report never mentioned a suspension, and WWE never announced one, despite Section 15A of the policy stating that's how it works. What he tested positive for hasn't been reported either, though it can't be cannabis, as the company has relaxed its rules on marijuana use. In response to an assumption that Riddle had 2 strikes as the system was understood, Wrestling Observer newsletter editor Dave Meltzer posted on his subscribers-only message board that this wasn't necessarily the case, saying, quote, "They've changed that rule. It's because a couple of key people have had 2 suspensions and we're in a wrestling war, plus someone with 2 could intentionally fail a test to get out of their contract." However, Meltzer wrote in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that there have been a change, but the company hasn't acknowledged if there was. He added that in the event the Riddle story as reported by Bodyslam.net is true and WWE talent believes it is, then that does mean WWE is no longer adhering to aspects of the drug policy having to do with announcing publicly drug suspensions. And I touched on this before, saying that I can't recall off the top of my head the last time they announced a public wellness policy violation. I think it was back in 2020. I remember Samoa Joe getting suspended. I can't remember the last one. It was around that period of time. So we haven't heard anything in nearly 3 years. So clearly they've changed the rule on that. And there was a thing a couple of years ago, I remember, whereby they added a new aspect to it, that if you had 2 strikes against you, but you didn't test positive for however many years, you could work off a strike. And the reason reportedly why they did that was because Randy Orton famously has been on 2 strikes for a really long time, and they didn't want him to fail a 3rd time and then have to fire him, which just makes a mockery of the whole policy then. That's the problem with this. If you're changing rules to ensure you don't fire people for having problems or abusing the policy, what's the point in having the policy? So, certain things, certain aspects, certain, substances being taken off, okay, that's fine. The world changed, laws change, importantly too. But when you're actively manipulating the policy to ensure you don't have to fire people, and the whole point of having the policy is to help people that have problems. And if you're changing things because in reality you want to help them, but you don't want to fire them, then what's the point of the policy? There has to be some kind of threat. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. You can let me know how you feel in the comment section below. We've got some matches announced for SmackDown next week. Having treated the WWE Universe to a plethora of bangers in 2022, Sheamus is set for another potentially hard-hitting match on the final SmackDown of the year. His opponent would be none other than Solo Sikoa, the enforcer of the Bloodline, who helped the Usos retain their undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships against Sheamus and Butch a few weeks ago, following which the Celtic Warrior was written off television. Sheamus and Sikoa last wrestled on the October 21 SmackDown, with Sikoa emerging as the winner. In fact, Sikoa has yet to be pinned since joining the main roster at Clash at the Castle in September. On several occasions that he was on the losing end in multi-man or tag team matches, the likes of Jey Uso or Sami Zayn took the pinfall on behalf of the Bloodline. The Sheamus vs. Sikoa grudge match was announced last night on SmackDown, where Paul Heyman and the Bloodline started off the show with a promo segment addressing the shocking news of John Cena's return to a WWE ring. Quote, "Next week, the enforcer, the sergeant at arms, he who imposes the Bloodline's will upon others solo will take out Sheamus," Heyman declared. Period. Exclamation point. End of discussion. In recent weeks, Sikoa has successfully taken out the likes of Matt Riddle and Elias with vicious attacks as WWE continues to build up the youngest Uso as an unstoppable force. But it won't be the only match taking place on next week's show. That was announced last night. Raquel Rodriguez will challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship. She has emerged as the new #1 contender for Ronda Rousey's SmackDown Women's title. Rodriguez earned a future title shot against Rousey by winning a gauntlet match on SmackDown in Chicago, outlasting the likes of Emma, Tegan Nox, Xia Li, and Liv Morgan before pinning Sonya Deville to secure the victory. However, she had one final hurdle to cross, even as announcers declared her the winner of the gauntlet match. In the midst of her celebration, Rodriguez was confronted by Rousey, who introduced Shayna Baszler as the final entrant in the match. Baszler would immediately rip off the brace that was on Rodriguez's arm, the same arm that Rousey has targeted and Baszler in a backstage ambush of Rodriguez last month. After landing vicious stomps on Raquel's injured arm, Baszler lifted the arm brace in the air and posed for several seconds, allowing Rodriguez to capitalize on the situation with a roll-up victory. And elated Rodriguez escaped the ring as Baszler and Rousey seethed inside the ring. They have confirmed that this title match will take place next week on the final SmackDown of 2022. Wouldn't expect a title change, would expect some shenanigans. It has been reported that Rousey versus Raquel will take place at the Rumble, so expect some kind of shenanigans to take place. Vince McMahon was on SmackDown. Yes, they screamed, Vince McMahon is back. No, no. This is one of those articles whereby a lot of people were clickbaiting this in the last 12 hours or so, saying Vince was on SmackDown. He was, but he wasn't. For the first time since his retirement, Vince McMahon was seen on WWE broadcast television, and if you blinked, you did miss him. It came on last night's SmackDown during an extensive clip package that aired in advance of John Cena making his return, and during the video package discussing John Cena's time in WWE, Vince McMahon appeared in an interview segment. Now, clearly, as I mentioned, this was a promo package, a video package that was put together a long time ago. It featured a lot of clips, a lot of very old clips of people talking. Triple H had long hair, talking about John Cena in it. I think that was from a 2012 documentary that was The Rock, John Cena Once in a Lifetime. It was a USA special, and that was from that. You had clips from The Rock talking about Cena probably at some point in 2011, 2012, 2013. You had Steve Austin clips that were easily 6 or 7 years old. This Vince McMahon clip is a little bit more recent, but still, it's not been recorded since he left WWE or resigned, whatever. So people saying, is this a sign that Vince is back? The answer is no. It's not a sign that Vince is back. Finally, Chelsea Green, she's been rumored to return to WWE, and a huge update has been reported about her returning. Following several returns under the Triple H regime, it was reported by WrestleVotes back in October that WWE had significant interest in bringing back Chelsea Green. Since then, a number of sources have confirmed that WWE wanted to re-sign Green, with Dave Meltzer reporting there had been discussions about plans for her to be featured in a new WWE reality show. She recently shut down her OnlyFans exclusive content page, fueling speculation that she's WWE bound once again. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select has now cleared up any confusion surrounding Green's status. In a new report, Fightful explicitly stated that Green is indeed headed back to WWE. The report noted, quote, "It was noted to us that Chelsea Green actually shut down her exclusive content page last week, but wrestling Twitter just caught wind of it this week. She's heading to WWE." Now, Green was released by WWE back in April 2021, 1 year after her now husband Matt Cardona was let go by the company. Although there have been rumours that Cardona will return to WWE, Fightful Select did not mention him, only reporting that Green is heading back to WWE. So it would appear that Chelsea Green is back imminently. When, where, we don't know, but expect to see the former Impact Knockouts champion return soon. But there you go, guys. That's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.